Mets after dark, and the Mets somehow, some way, pull that completely out of their ass. I don't know what I just watched, folks. That was a disaster of epic proportions, but somehow they came out on top when it all mattered, and we could have one peaceful night of sleep knowing that they did not get swept by the Washington Nationals. The Mets are now 8-2. They're still 7-2 when Alonso homers, but now we're inching up here, 8-10 when he doesn't. Every year the Mets have that one team where they have no business having any trouble against them, and it's very clear that that team for us is going to be the Nationals, but we're not seeing them again until about August, I believe. So at least we have some time to get our team right. Hopefully it'll be a new look Mets by the time we catch up with them for the second time. But my God, was that a disaster. There's nothing I can really even say about it other than McNeil looks like he's back on track. He's hitting well over 400 in the last 11 games. Thank God for him. Vogie showed up. Brett Beatty, we had the young kids out there doing their thing. But my God, there's not much more I can even say. I'm speechless to the fact that inning even took place. He had 3 hit by pitches, an error, and then a grand slam. They scored 5 runs on 1 hit. But lo and behold, this Mets team decided they were not going to lay down tonight. They had been tired of getting booed off the field from this entire series. And Jeff McNeil, the hits god, comes through yet again with a triple off the wall. This team was bad. This wasn't even like oh, the Mets aren't playing well. This team gave them every single opportunity to win this game. They finally took advantage of it. But my God, could you imagine what it would be if they did not pull this out today? I mean, I had people in my mentions, I had people texting me, this team is never going to go anywhere. And while they may not be wrong, that would have been the dagger. This early in the season absolutely cannot happen. My God. All right, so going to open it up for the calls. Just sent out the link on YouTube. If you're listening on Twitter Spaces, be sure to check out the We Gotta Believe YouTube page. You get some FaceTime on here. We got our first caller, and of course, it's Mets 21-28. What is going on?
This series was BS. I mean, I was roaring at one major flaw with the Mets in this game, this whole series. Plate discipline. They chased everything out of the zone where the Nationals did not. I mean, Nationals are not known for striking out, right?
Despite they had the lowest strikeout rate in the league this year. Yep.
When you're pitching against probably one of the most disciplined teams, record be damned, you don't constantly throw the outside if they're not going to chase.
Yep. Can't agree more. We saw it with Senga. They just saw it last game. And you had to adjust for this game. You had to throw the ball in the zone. And it's also, we got beat on some pitches.
Near kill shot in the eighth. Yes. Buck leaving Tommy Hunter out there to rot. When you plunk the first two batters you face, you pull the pitcher out. You don't leave them in.
Yeah.
There's no logic to that. That's something I bitched about with Rojas 2 years ago.
A lot of head scratchers with Buck for this entire series, really. I mean, this is the first time we've seen – I'm not going to say he's exposed. I'm just going to say we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. People are getting tired.
And I was keeping track of this in the middle of a draft thing in a different stream yard.
What's that?
And I'm in a different stream with Uncle Freezy keeping track of the NFL draft. But that said, Mets got lucky tonight. Simple as that.
All right, I'll let you get back to the draft. And yeah, they did get lucky. It's completely they fumbled the bag. They fumbled the ball on the 1 yard line. And that's what happens when you play bad teams. They're going to give you those opportunities. I don't know what the Nationals were doing, bringing back their pitcher at that moment in the game when he had just thrown 3 innings 2 days prior. Just be thankful that we're playing a bad team when we need to pick up the pieces of whatever the hell that just was. I mean, the offense, we had a ton of hits tonight. That's one positive to look at if you want to pick out some sort of positive other than the win. The win was completely cheapened. This should have just been put them to bed early. We could have had a nice carefree night where we get everybody back on track. We're pointing to the fact that Alonso finally broke his 0-for-19 streak. You had Lindor with some doubles. McNeil's hitting the ball around. We got Vogie coming through in the clutch with a bloop and a single. There's some good things to say about this team for the offense because we haven't been scoring any runs. So you need them to turn the page with the Braves coming to town. And before this, I had written down my biggest takeaway was Joey Cora is the real MVP of the night because the Nationals are terrible and he took complete advantage of them whenever he could because he didn't know whether or not the bats were going to go quiet. But we got Fink on the line. What do we got, Fink?
What up, Kyle? I mean, I know that was a rough-ass game, but
terrible.
We got to have one.
There we go.
Got to celebrate.
Blue Mountains, baby.
And if not celebrate, I mean, we got to drink to whatever the hell the offense is because God knows it's Jekyll and Hyde every single night.
And you can't have that when you're not a team that hit home runs. Like if you're the Yankees from years past and you're going to have some nights where you're going to score no runs, that's fine because you have at least 4 or 5 guys in the lineup that are going to crush when they're hot. We don't have that. We have 2 guys who hit home runs. And, Marte looked good in his final at-bats. So, I'm hopeful that comes around. But you can't just have Lindor and Pete doing everything because Lindor hasn't really hit his power stroke yet either.
No, Lindor feels like he's just getting started on the year. And, I mean, thank God Marte's starting to feel his way around the ball a little bit better. But, I mean, it feels like Canada doesn't have that power stroke that he said he was bringing in this year. Yep. Alvarez is still warming up. And, I mean, he could be a bopper late in the order. But, I mean, get these guys some power between 6 and 9. Jeez Louise.
Alvarez right now is getting not overmatched. He's in his own head. because you're up and you're playing at the highest level of competition, and he's also a free swinger. So it's a terrible combination. Every ball at his eyeballs he loves.
Oh, absolutely. He's going to swing at everything a belt high and above, but that's just his MO. He's gonna take his hacks, he's gonna take his licks, and one day he's gonna connect on the ball and it won't stop.
That's the thing. We're already seeing it with Beatty. Like, when the young guys get hot, they are going to be major contributors. Beatty has his first home run of the season tonight. He goes 3 for 3 with a walk. Like, that is a difference maker when it comes to the bottom of the lineup and turning this thing over, giving it back over to Nimmo. Like, if we can get that some sort of consistency, and that's why I'm glad that they have them up now, because if there's going to be growing pains, you have those growing pains in April. You figure out what these players are, how we're going to rebuild around them, and then come trade deadline, people are getting shipped out if they're not performing.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of people on this team who could be that candidate right now, but I mean, let the kids cook. Let the top of the lineup cook. Let everyone else figure their stuff out. Hopefully the bullpen has less clunkers like tonight and just brings out.
It's going to happen. They were too good for too long. I mean, Brooks Rally, he's kind of Jekyll and hiding also in my mind. I know his numbers are a little bit better, but
he's either I'm going to throw you a gem or I'm going to throw the ball out of the park.
Right. Yep. So I thought Lucchesi had a good night. I will touch on that. And thanks for the call. So Lucchesi, I thought he kind of got the tough 2 extra runs from Tommy Hunter from the inherited runners. So his final stat line is 5 1/3, 5 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks, 3 Ks. Still looks better than Peterson if we're calling a spade and we're looking for a lifeline. It was manageable. I think he was probably pissed off that he didn't get to finish that inning, but those 2 hard hit balls back to back, I agree with Buck there that you had to pull them. Didn't end up being the right call bringing in Tommy Hunter. But in that situation with a guy this early, it's only his second start for the club. Fine, whatever. But to have it backfire in the fashion that it did, this could have been not consolable, but I do think it would have taken a negative turn with just about everybody because the Braves are coming to town and they're not fucking around, gang. So we need to be fully buttoned up for this next series. I'm taking callers on Twitter Spaces as well. So all the listeners in here, if you throw up the request sign, I'll make sure you get in and get your thoughts out. But until that happens, we're going to stick in the stream. Oh, we got one here. Jack, what's up? Jake, I'm sorry. Jake, how's it going? You're muted.
Am I on?
Yep. What do you got for me?
Hello?
Yep, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Jake, going once. You losing service?
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead. Nope. Sorry, Jake. I'm going to have to remove your request again. Going to the Cuban Met. What do we got?
What's going on? Great win. Little cheers action.
Got to take it where we can, right?
I think biggest takeaway is that hopefully Lindor finds his stride right here.
Yeah.
I feel like he's been hot and cold. Had a couple of good at-bats. That error is rare and at an awful time.
Yeah.
But overall offense clicked, and I think going into this Braves series with obviously not the ideal pitching situations, but if the bats can be like that, I think we're set, at least for a split.
You got to hope. I mean, you got to at least stick around with this team because we know that they're picked to win the division. You want to at least say that you can bang with the best of them, especially with the way things ended last season. So I think they're going to be extra motivated from last season, the way things ended with them. I don't really think it's going to matter who it is. They're all going to be locked in, ready to go. But yeah, to your point, Lindor, I thought he was struggling. He looked kind of lost lefty, but tonight it looked like he's, once he's hitting to those gaps, that's when he's on. Because righty, he seems like he's been more consistent, but we're going to get some power strokes out of the lefty. Needs something there. But again, we need everybody to contribute because it can't just be Lindor and Pete. And lo and behold, again, yes, they scored all the runs tonight, But when it came down to it and it mattered, those were the guys, plus McNeil, that put us over the top again. And, like, teams can just pitch around them. They can get into slumps. There needs to be somebody else. And it seemed like that's the biggest difference to me from last season. There was always somebody else stepping up. It was Lindor and Pete putting up career RBI numbers, but then you had the random Eduardo Escobar run. You had Starling Marte. You had Nimmo. And we just haven't gotten that yet this season.
Yeah, and I actually love Beatty and Alvarez at that 8-9 because it's kind of like restarting the order before actually restarting the order when they're hitting. And I also think Vogelback's kind of like not getting the respect he deserves. I mean, his on base is over 400. He's batting like 360 or something, 350 in the past like 9 games, they said.
Yeah.
He's had some good
slow
plate
start.
appearances.
That's all it is.
Exactly. So
we're so used to seeing him hit last year because he came in hot. So it's like there's a reason why you're a lefty DH who only hits against righties. You're streaky.
Yeah. No, I think we're in for a treat. It's either going to be a really good series or a really bad one against the Braves.
That's it. It's going to be a coin toss. And we're going to know very quickly how that's going to go.
Yeah. Appreciate it, man. Have a good one.
All right. Soul. What's going on?
Hey, what's going on, man?
Hey.
I just have 2 quick questions. I won't take the mic up too long. Don't worry.
Go for it.
So I kind of missed a little bit of the game. What happened with Lindor?
So there's a ball up the middle. He kind of got handcuffed on it. It was a ground ball. Easy force play at second. He was trying to transfer it, dropped it, then tried to dive at the bag, which prolonged the inning, and then it led to the grand slam.
Oh, okay. So he did not get hit or anything, did he?
No. It was just, it happens. He's not going to be perfect all season long, but it was just the worst possible timing for it to happen.
I got you. So the other thing I wanted to ask was, going into this Braves series, this is going to be really tough for the Mets, without, being short without Scherzer and just not having Verlander right now. And Kodai's just, he's kind of been a little shaky right now with the loss of the Nationals. Do you think that, do you see the Mets taking at least maybe 2 or 3 out of the 4 games? Or do you think that's dreaming?
I mean, it's going to be a tall order, especially with the guys that they're going up against. Right now, it's TBD on Monday, so we're gonna have to see who they go with. I couldn't even tell you. I don't know. It's all over the place at this point. So we got Peterson, McGill, and then Buto is slated to throw. Now, McGill, out of everybody, I feel the most comfortable with. Peterson, he just reminds me too much of Steven Matz. And it's because he's a lefty, of course, but it's just him and Buto. And I don't understand every time I see the numbers from AAA for Buto, it's like, oh, this guy's going to be a top of the rotation type of guy, at least a 3. And then he comes up and it's like, is this just a quadruple A pitcher? Does he need time to develop? Like, I don't know what it is, but I haven't seen enough out of him to put my faith in him against the Braves.
Right. And I'm just glad that we have Batty and Alvarez in the, because that's how it should be, really.
Yeah.
Having Batty there and Alvarez, because how are they going to learn? How are they going to be consistent if you don't give them a chance? When they brought Alvarez up to just come off the bench with Nito catching catching essentially, that was to me that was pretty stupid.
Yeah.
Wait, that talent on the bench, and then finally bringing back Beatty was the smartest thing they could have done. Getting him to cover third, and Eduardo just swapping out DH spots at platoon with Volge was perfect. Honestly, hopefully those two guys can shine for us in the Braves series, and maybe we can snag one or two.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Thanks for the call. So, sorry, what?
No problem. I'm just saying thank you.
All right, have a good one. Beatty is going to be interesting as soon as tomorrow because we got Strider going for the Braves, lefty on lefty. You've already seen Beatty's red hot. He's proven he can hit lefties in the past, but Strider's at the top of his game right now. He looked great in his last outing. what does Buck decide to do here? And it's going to be a telltale sign as to like just how comfortable he is sticking with this kid. I personally would go with that. You got to go with the hot hand. He's hitting the ball. He's seeing the ball well. And it doesn't really matter who the pitcher is. If you have an all-star, hopefully caliber player, somebody that you think is going to build the franchise around and grow with your team, just throw him out there. Let's just see what's the worst that could happen, because we know what the older alternative is, and that's Eduardo Escobar. And you don't know what you're going to get out of him. So you might as well just go with the hot hand, go with the young kid who's looking to make a name for himself. But again, Buck is kind of set in his ways with this type of thing. So we're going to have to wait and see. Lefty on lefty, I'm biased. I think that there's no real difference there. You go righty on righty all the time. What's the big difference? Nimmo hits lefties well. You have him in there. You have McNeil in there. Why not just throw another one in there? Strider's going to be Strider no matter what. So there's no real difference. But we got Ray, who looks like he's in the forest. What's up, Ray?
Oh, yeah. No, I am definitely in the forest. That is, I live in Northern California. Night. Yeah, I live in Northern California like 12 years now, but I'm from Breezy Point and Rockaway.
All right.
What I wanted to say was, first of all, couldn't agree with you more on going in with a hot young hand into the Braves series. But I think, watching the game tonight, and I had an opportunity to go to some of the West Coast games and some homies that went down to the Dodgers game and just saw the energy the team was bringing. And I think it said a lot that, like, the gas wasn't taken out after a fucking grand slam.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and then to come back and just be like, nah, we know we're better than them. Like, we got this, right?
Would have been very easy to hang their heads after dropping the first two also. Yeah.
I mean, right, irregardless of how, like, the series played out, for the culmination of the series to have been such what otherwise could have been a dramatic sort of punch in the gut, yada, 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 to then come back in the ninth and be like, no, we're taking one. We're not going out of this with a goose egg.
Yes.
I think that said a lot about the goddamn team.
Yeah, and we saw that last season too. There was games we had no business winning last year that they came back. What was it? We got 7 runs and 8 runs. So 2 runs is nothing. That's everyone's kind of negative because of the way the offense has been.
Well, and the first 2 games, to your point, were very.
I mean, they scored 1. You can't score 1 run against the Nationals over 2 games.
No, it's not gonna go well.
It's never gonna go well.
No. But this is a place called Mount Shasta. There's a
very nice. And you know what? The West Coast life, when you're watching these baseball games, you get to bed nice and early.
I do, yeah. I don't stay up too late. Then the day games, man, like the 1 p.m. games, I'm watching it throughout the workday. I got it on the background in the office. It starts at 10.
Sweet.
College football starting at 9 is weird. That gets.
You get a little breakfast with your football. I get it.
Yeah, it's like, wait a minute, this didn't. Yeah.
Well,
anyway, all right. Well, listen.
This way.
Oh yeah, no, I come back to Rockaway not infrequently, and I've done a couple 7-line things out here, and yada yada yada.
Good stuff. We have our
I grew up
park this Saturday actually.
Yeah, I saw that. No, I grew up going to Shea, and parents were the '86, grandmother was the '69. She was a New York Giants fan back in the day.
There you go.
Hey, it's Rockaway, baby. It's Rockaway. Yep. Yeah. All right. Well, hey, listen. Congratulations on everything. The content is fantastic. You crush it, and perhaps we'll see you back.
Thanks. Appreciate it. We got any callers here in Twitter Spaces? We still got some listeners going. I know most of everybody's probably got an eye on the NFL draft tonight. The Jets already won their draft. They didn't need to pick a single player. They've already picked up the most valuable offseason asset out there. And as a Packer fan, I can tell you he's going to be able to move the needle with whoever you got. But we're sticking with baseball. I need to figure out what my quarterback situation is about to be with Love, and they just drafted a defensive end for God knows who knows why. But you got to love the team not going quietly, to his point. We got Lindor gets him over. Marte lead off with a single. Lindor gets him over. Pete with a big double to the gap. And then Jeff McNeil, as he had done all night long. When Jeff sees the ball, there's not a single pitcher who's getting it by him. that ball was in on his hands. He completely turned on it. And yes, the outfielder got turned around a bit, but I don't think he was catching that. I'm not giving him the benefit of the doubt. The hits god comes through. He delivers, and they salvaged the series. That's all we were looking for. It wasn't pretty. It was ugly at times, but all we were looking for going into tonight was, let's turn this thing around. We have to break the losing streak before the Braves get to town. We got 4 coming up against Atlanta. They are going to be a motherfucker, as we always know, and the fireworks are going to be going. So let me know what your guys' thoughts are. Be sure to throw up that request sign in the Twitter Spaces. I'm going to pump out the StreamYard link right now in the comments on YouTube. So if you guys want to get your faces out there, get your takes off, be sure to follow that link, and I'll get you in real quick. Looking ahead, we got Peterson tomorrow. Not overly confident in that. You got the lefty on lefty matchup. Peterson, let's call it what it is. This dude needs to come out and absolutely shove. Otherwise, I think this is probably the last dance for him. You got Verlander's doing a rehab start. Scherzer is coming off of his suspension next week. That's probably who's going to be throwing Monday. I think that's why Scherzer decided to take the suspension. He didn't think he was going to win the appeal anyway. It's a pure BS process because he's only going through the league, not through an independent arbitrator. But we got David Peterson, 1-3 with a 7.36 ERA. That's not getting it done. That's certainly not getting it done against the Braves. He's not walking that many people. That's the big indicator of he's just getting touched up. It'd be one thing if he's having control issues, he needs to fix something, whatever the case may be. I doubt he's tipping pitches because that'd be something that they were pointing. I'm sure they've looked into the way that the things have been going. They're probably assuming he's tipping pitches, but it seems like there isn't a right answer for that. You got McGill, who, again, has been a delight. Same as last season. He came out of nowhere. We weren't expecting him. He was supposed to be in AAA this year, and he's putting together a decent body of work. He's got a 3.96 ERA. He's 3-1, 1.48 WHIP. He's a big game pitcher when it comes down to it. I mean, you got the opening day start last season. He had the opening homestand series, and both times rose to the occasion. So got to hope that we're going to get at least one of those for the split. And then from that point, I'm sorry, but I don't think Buto is up to the task. We're going to have to hope that the Mets can kill Charlie Morton a little bit here. But we got one win. We move on. We reset. You got to hope that the offense is now refocused. They've got some sort of confidence. They're seeing the ball a little bit better than the last 2 games. This team cannot be streaky. This offense cannot be streaky. If they hit home runs, be a totally different story. Our brand of baseball, the way that this team is built, they need to perform night in and night out. We need somebody at some point not named Jeff McNeil, Pete Alonso, and Francisco Lindor to step up. Marte showing flashes. Positive. Canna, need to see so much more. Vogie starting to come out of it, but he's not going to play tomorrow because there's a lefty pitching. So what do? You got to have somebody else is the case. Last chance for callers here. Otherwise, we're going to cut it off. Again, I know it's a light night here. We got NFL draft coverage going on right now on the Barstool Sports account. Go check that out, NFL draft. They're doing a great job giving you a different spin on the picks and the coverage. But going once. If anyone else wants to get a call off, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to have to say I'll see you guys next week. Probably going to look at Wednesday. But take it for what it is. It was nonstop excitement for the offense. It was complaining. They pull it out. That's the Mets. That's the way that this Mets team has been. I don't think that they're as consistent as they were last year. I don't think that we're going to see much of an uptick. I don't think that this is just the way the team's going to be all season long. Until something significant changes, until Justin Verlander and Max Scherzer get their heads on straight, Senga goes deep in games. This is just our life now. You got to hope to hang around. You have the wild card spots. If they do the right moves or somebody gets hot, if the young guys start hitting the way they were in AAA, then it's a different team. But the team we're at right now, you have to go in strapped in, ready to go night after night because there are no easy games, as we've just seen. If you can't beat the Nationals 2 out of 3, there's never going to be a walk in the park unless you're playing the Athletics again. So take the win for what it is, and we're going to see you guys tomorrow. Full coverage. We got the pod going off tomorrow with a full recap of this whole series. And you got to believe